argue a dream or reality. We're all a part of the answer to the meaning of it all. Come in and join us for the moment we call now. Rise up, join in, raise the whole vibration.
Yes, rise up, join in, raise the whole vibration. I'm getting excited with my my theme song every week here. You know what? I've got to put this. I'm going to use this in just a second, but I've got to put this down on the ground because, very interestingly enough, well, welcome to the live stream of consciousness. I'll tell you the story in a second. It's March 13th. We're here together. I'm super excited. I feel like I'm getting a little mojo back. Even though I've been talking about maybe taking a little bit of a break, I'm excited to be here. I was watching some old shows and I was always like really pumped at the beginning, and then I kind of got mellow, and now we're here in 2025. The energy all around us is intense. Looking for the right word. And I want to just open up the space. I've been doing this for the last couple of weeks, and this is the story that I'm talking about. So I've got this new bowl that I am absolutely in love with. I'm connected to this bowl because I had to put it down on the ground because I have it here over here, and when I put it to the side and I talk, I don't know if you guys could hear that, but it's actually ringing just from the sound of my voice, which is incredible. And I was connected to this bowl. I picked it up. There's a great shop in Sayville called the Little Shop of Crystals. There's Lenny and Melissa down there. And this bowl was there. Janice was doing a workshop down there. They do all sorts of cool workshops. And this bowl was there, and I picked it up and I hit it. I'm just going to open the space here by hitting it and playing it for a second. I've got to hold it right. As I was playing it, it was getting so loud. It was vibrating violently in my hands, and it was awesome. And I don't want to do it too loud in my... Oh, there it goes. I can feel it in my hands. I don't know if you guys, if that's... I see Nancy in the green room holding her ears, but this thing is so powerful. I love it so much, and it's still going. I love it so much. And I've been really fascinated by sound and frequency lately, and cymatics and all of these really cool energetic concepts that are being studied, and all these amazing things are happening. So thank you, Janice, for the bowl. Thank you, Little Shop of Crystals, for the bowl. Thank you, everybody, for letting me open the space with that really loud sound. Let me take a look at the comments. Janice, I love that bowl. Yes, that bowl is amazing. What's up, Ninja Kitty? Good to see you. I am super excited tonight because tonight is like the ultimate merger between the East Coast and the West Coast, the live stream of consciousness and the Sacred Spiral Network, which, you know, if you've been watching the show, you know that Debbie Romero tripped over the show one day. Raven Adams was a guest of mine. This is like a little tree family history. Raven Adams was a guest. Debbie Romero came on to watch her and invited a bunch of people to the show. And then I noticed in the comments, everybody was chatting back and forth. And it was so awesome. The energy was like palpable. People were there for a reason. And the intention was there and the energy was there, and it was just really great. And I reached out to Debbie and became friends with her quickly, had her on my show. She recommended Jennifer Rose and Kelly Brickle from the Sacred Spiral Network, and it was just awesome to connect and become a part of a community and actually connect my community with their community and kind of cross promote. So now I have a show on the Sacred Spiral Network called Holding Space, which I've been bringing some of my guests on from Long Island to, and that's been really cool, and just growing the community. So if you're into that and you're here for that reason, welcome, first of all. Second of all, just click the thumbs up, share it with your own social media. All of that stuff helps tickle the algorithm, let them know that there's something ticklish out there, there's something fun out there that should be shared, and that will just help me grow and help you grow and help everybody grow, raise the vibration, join in, just like the song says. That's right, Ninja Kitty. If you're watching live, type hashtag live. Simple as that. Something as simple as that will help me out. If you're watching the replay, hashtag replay. That all helps. I see Courtney in the audience. Thank you for being here, Courtney. Good to always see you in the audience. Part of the Sacred Spiral community, joined into my community. I love it. I did want to what's the right word? Oh my God, my vocabulary, sometimes it jumps out of my head. I wanted to endorse a fellow podcaster. Third Eye Drops is a podcast that I watch, and he's been doing a lot of investigation into the Monroe Institute and the CIA documents about consciousness actually creating reality. And I love that shit. Right. That's why I'm here. That's why I have the live stream of consciousness. That's why we came up with this. The live stream of consciousness is a moment of intention where everybody's here for a reason. The energy is happening. It's a moment of being in the now. It's just something amazing. So let's get it on. It's 9:07. I don't usually babble till 9:07, but I did today. Gonna bring on my guest, who is a psychic medium, really awesome person who also came, and I just noticed in the chat room of this show, and just kind of meeting people and connecting, right? That's what this whole thing is about. So welcome from the Sacred Spiral Network, Nancy Muratalla. Welcome to the live stream of consciousness and to the stage. Hello.
Hi.
How
Hi,
you doing?
everyone. Good. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome for having you. Well, thank you for being here. Leela Ninja Kitty saying it's our happy place. Yes, it's our happy place. And
Yes.
Gabby, welcome.
Hi, Gabby.
Yeah, I love that. Like the live stream of consciousness for me, it was just like something I said, hey, I want to do this on Thursday nights. I just want to have these conversations. And it became this thing. It organically grew from an intention into a reality. You know what I mean? It's like a good manifestation story. It just kind of happened, and here we are.
Yeah. I
But
first saw you when you were on with Grace. I'm like, oh my gosh, they're amazing. Like, I got to jump on every week.
Thank you, Grace Grella, amazing person. Again, I love the way that this community ripples out, and people, the whole thing about your vibe, find your tribe and all of this stuff, because it's true. Energy is so real, and I think once you become aware of your energy and accountable for your energy, you start attracting that kind of person, who is aware and is accountable for their energy, and then the vibration is raised, and that's what we're here for, little by little, raising that vibration.
And
But
such a loving community too.
it's great. It's so great. And I saw you on the Sacred Spiral Network. You were a guest on a couple of different shows. I kind of saw you buzzing around, and then I was like, oh my God, she's here in the audience. She's watching my show. So I was really excited. So I'm excited to talk to you and get to know you. But this is my turf. And this is the live stream of consciousness. So I've got to kind of initiate you, and we got to like get into the mood, get into the feeling. Yes. And I got to break the ice with the question of what are we even talking about? What is consciousness to you?
Love that question. So right out of the gate, I'm gonna Sorry, I'm gonna say it's the opposite of knocked out, passed out, drunk. Sorry,
No,
I had
that's
to put
great. I
one out
love it.
there. But for real, you know, consciousness to me is really the definition of awareness of one's true nature beyond the physical self. You
Mhm,
know, it's a recognition of the soul and the connection to a higher power.
mhm.
And, you know, when we have the understanding that there is an existence beyond the material world, it's amazing.
It
Like,
is, isn't it? Yeah, I
we
agree.
can just step away and just know that there's more than meets the eye.
Mhm.
You just get embellished with so much love and joy and really peace of mind.
Peace of mind.
That's
Yeah, I agree. I agree. It is kind of, it's interesting. Spirituality, the whole idea of being spiritual and the idea of religion. They're kind of like, they're not really that different. You know what I mean? And I think in for me, the similarity is the idea of faith. The idea of faith. The idea of believing in something that you just can't put into words. You can't really describe it because it's bigger than you.
yeah,
You know what I
that's right.
mean? And and
That's
and
right.
and you and that's really, I think, I love being able to even find that similarity, right? In spirituality and religion. Because
Right.
it's a big thing out there where everyone's like kind of picking sides, right? And you don't have to pick sides, especially when it comes to
No,
that stuff, love
right.
and
You know,
all of that stuff.
it's funny that you say that too, because, you know, there's a lot of people that it can often come when there's a tragedy, you know. Hi, Debbie O. You
That's okay.
know, it's kind of like when you're really sick and you're praying to the God toilet, you know, please don't, I'll never do this again.
Mhm.
And, you know, I've heard in many of my readings where, you know, people have said, well, you know, it's too late that they're now realizing, but you know, it's never too late. And,
I
you
agree.
know, my sister's husband passed a year or so ago, and her spirituality was not very strong,
Mhm.
and it's through the roof now.
Yeah.
So whatever way, shape, or form it's going to come,
Mhm.
that's awesome. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
it takes that,
Yeah.
but at
Yeah.
least you got there, right?
Yeah. No, no, and I've seen that a million times also, a million times over. And I actually had a guest on Holding Space on Tuesday who was a two-time cancer survivor.
Yeah,
And
saw
we
that.
were talking about the idea that, like an adverse situation, like a diagnosis of cancer, right? That's an opportunity right there to make a choice in life of your perspective, how you're going to face that, how you're going to handle it, how you're going to respond to it, right? And you can give it fear, or you can give it love. And
I loved her answer too, and she was very honest and said she didn't get to that 3rd place immediately. It took her a little bit,
Mhm.
which is
Sure.
very real, very real.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I mean, and for me, I love stories of triumph, and I always get very emotional, hearing stories about what people are going through that I haven't gone through. That seems to me like, oh my goodness, I mean, I can't even imagine that, but I can certainly see like the opportunity that that person was given and how they took that
Yeah,
opportunity and how it changed their life. You know what I
absolutely.
mean? And
Yeah.
it's interesting when people use that to question, like the existence of God, right? Like, well, if there's a God, why do people get cancer? And I think that we just kind of explain that, you know what I mean? It's an opportunity to live your best life. You know what I mean?
That's
Even though that may not make sense to us, it really is,
right,
and
right.
you know.
And, you know, those are some tough questions. And to a certain extent, you know, I have my theory on why things happen to people or the lessons they're supposed to learn from it.
Mhm.
Um, but I also think there is going to be the mystery that there is not an answer for everything.
Right,
And I think
right.
it is what it is. It's meant to be that way too.
Right. Totally. And Courtney says, "I love your hair like this, Nancy."
Uh, Thank you. It was very windy and rainy, so I had to do something with the hair today. Thank you, Courtney.
And oh my goodness, I'm sure you get this a lot. Angelo says, "Fran Drescher, I notice a lot of Italians are psychics." uh,
Thank
a
you.
lot
Hopefully
of
my voice is annoying though.
no, definitely much easier to talk to you, for sure, for sure. I have a second question for you because I want to talk to you about how you became psychic and all of the
Yeah,
everything. I want to find out all about you. But the fact that you are a psychic medium, I know that you believe that there's more to this world than just the three-dimensional. You wake up, you go to work, you come home, you go to sleep. There's more to this world. You were talking about it earlier, right? So
absolutely.
so my question for you is, do you have a story, a moment, a memory of that, like when you realized that and what it meant to you?
Yes, I do. I think we all say yes to that question. I think the funny thing is we all say yes to that question, but I think at the time we didn't know, but now we know.
Sure, sure.
So for me, so I was born in New York and I am the fourth child of six
Oh,
children.
wow. Big
So
family.
I'm the fourth daughter, and then there's two boys.
Okay.
And when we lived in New York before my brothers were born, I can remember I can remember going to bed, and I always, was in a room with a sister, but I always felt somebody sitting at the edge of my bed.
Oh, wow.
And the funny thing, I was probably 7 years old, maybe 10, and it didn't scare me.
Mhm,
And it was really weird. It felt very angelic. It felt very loving.
mhm, mhm.
It did not scare me. So that
Right.
really was a very pivotal moments, I should say, but I didn't know what that was, nor did
Mhm,
it stay in my awareness. I
mhm.
always knew that I felt something, but I didn't know what it was. And, back then you just kind of push it away because everyone would think that you're crazy.
Right. Right.
So,
Yeah, but you had the awareness that it didn't scare
yeah,
you. That was like a feeling, just a feeling, right?
did not scare me at all. And it was very present. I was very awake. It wasn't in the dream state. I knew there was something sitting at the edge of my bed.
Mhm, mhm. Wow.
And in 2011, believe it or not, I worked for I don't want to say a fairly well known medium, but I worked for a medium that's very well known in the industry. And I was very connected. I did all of her events, organized it all. She would share stuff with me. I would be present at all of her development classes. I would partake in them sometimes.
Mhm,
But the funny thing is, if you would have asked me, do you want to be a medium? I would say, absolutely not. No.
mhm,
And I
mhm,
said that
mhm.
for years. Absolutely
Right.
not. Like, no, not at all. Not even close. And in 2014 is when my mother died.
Mm,
And I have had so many people die in my life. That one was obviously the toughest one for me.
I can
And
imagine.
the things that happened, I was already a believer. I already knew. I was seeing mediums when I was in my early 20s. I married at 20. I was told when I was 20 that I was going to have fertility issues. I was
Mm,
told I was going to adopt a son,
mhm.
which I thought, no, I don't, phooey, who knows about that? And when I was 38 years old, still couldn't conceive after
Wow.
being married for almost, 35, 40 years and adopted a son.
Mm,
So I was already very open and very much a believer. But when my mother died, the things that happened, and I had one textured wall in my bedroom that ended up shape shifting into a vision of my mother when she passed,
wow.
beautifully peaceful with two angels kissing each side of her face. And I can see the beautiful angel wings in this wall picture.
Wow.
And I knew it was for me, but my son could also see it. My
Oh, wow.
husband saw the outline, but because it wasn't for it was for me. But
Sure.
my son was
Sure.
also very intuitive at the time, and he would hear her, he would hear the footsteps. And I finally had to say to her one day, okay, stop moving my pictures everywhere because it's starting to
Mm.
freak me out. Like I had pictures going down a stairway every morning. I got up, they were all moved every different. I'm
Oh,
like, okay,
wow.
stop doing that. Stop doing that.
Oh my goodness.
But I think the most realist moment is I walked around saying she wasn't supposed to die yet.
Mm.
And I had a dream that week because she died, in my opinion. I wasn't ready for it. Like we didn't think it was going to go that direction.
Right.
And I remember in a dream, I had somebody coming and just had their arms and hugged me so tightly. And I already knew who it was, but like she knew I needed that.
Mm.
And
Mm.
that to me that was all I needed.
Wow.
And the amount of love and healing I got from all the medium friends that I had already had at that
Mhm.
time,
Mhm.
I just wanted to give that back to everyone because it
Mhm.
was no greater feeling
Mhm.
knowing they're still with us, knowing that
Right.
they're watching us, they still love us, they still have the memories. I just wanted to share that with the world.
Sure, sure. Yeah, that's really powerful. That's great. I totally get that because I tell people that I have the psychic fetish, and that is that I don't really like I don't have the desire to go to a psychic and say, "Oh, this or that." Like I don't have a desire to do that for myself. But
Yeah.
I have a lot of psychic friends. I do a lot of video production, right? So I was at a lot of readings, group readings, and I saw a lot of readings and a lot of healing, and it's so powerful. Even for Christopher Allen is the medium that I worked with. We did a show for like a whole year. He would have group readings once a month, and we would do it live in a studio. He didn't want any editing. He wanted people to see that it was real, and it was real, and it was amazing. And the amount of emotion and energy you could feel it, and I love that. I love being around it because I feel like even me just hearing the story, I'm getting the healing too.
Yeah,
I'm energetically connected to
absolutely.
consciousness. The one, I'm energetically connected to it all, so I can, that vibration being raised, that healing happening, I can feel it. I can tap
Yeah,
into it and share in it.
absolutely.
And yeah, and I
I mean,
love that.
back in the day when I worked for a medium and I would plan all of the events, everything was in person at that time. Zoom wasn't a thing. So, we'd get all of our stuff together, we'd set up the room, and
Mhm,
even me just buzzing around, making sure the waters were filled and, she was doing her thing up there. You just feel it.
mhm,
You
mhm.
just feel everyone's emotions. You feel
Yeah,
the love in the room, the
yeah,
tears,
yeah,
I was the tissue boxer giver. And it's beautiful.
yeah. It's an amazing thing. So you decided that you wanted to explore your own abilities and you wanted to share it with everybody. And
I did.
how did that happen? Tell us how you started doing that.
So the funny thing is, in 2014, when that happened, several other family members, died after that.
Mhm,
And, I have a full-time job. I'm an HOA escrow manager, which is, nothing remotely close to this stuff. It's boring in comparison.
mhm.
So, I kept doing my thing, and my side gig was, I was working for a medium, and it wasn't until maybe 2018 that I happened to be moving around on social media and I saw Jennifer Rose.
Okay. Love Jennifer.
And I saw that she was offering a class because the medium I worked for, who's also a very good friend, she ended up moving to Hawaii and she got more into the healing with the horses.
Mm. Oh, I love
So
that too. Yeah, yeah, it's
I
great.
accidentally stumbled onto Jennifer Rose and I was just very drawn to her. And I just kept taking classes
Cool.
um, the rest is kind of history. The funny thing is she laughs today because I'm like, yeah, I don't get it. I'm not hearing anything. I don't know what's happening here. And then all of a sudden I went through some dark night of the soul thing. And all of a sudden I was like, blah, 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 blah. She's like, whoa.
Now they won't shut up, right? Now it's all you hear. That's great.
Right. It was amazing. So,
Mhm.
I always say we're still always developing, and I'm still very new
Mhm.
into it, but
Mhm.
I love it, and
Mhm.
I'm hard on myself, but I push myself
Sure.
really, really hard because I want to connect with the spirit world. I want to give people that healing. So I
Mhm.
know my heart's in the right place to
Mhm.
push myself to,
Mhm.
you know, keep doing what I need to do and just
Mhm.
keep putting myself out there.
That's
So
and,
I
and that's great. Yeah, that's it.
basically work 8 days a week.
That's great. I think that's important, and that's kind of where I'm at with this, right? Like I always talk about, like, okay, I understand that everybody has all of these abilities, right? I mean, I've taken some classes up of, trying to understand Akashic record reading, and have practiced with people, and people have said, "Oh my God, that was amazing." And I don't know what I did, right? But I'm certainly connected to all of this stuff energetically, but I don't have a specific modality. Like you were saying, like you're like, nah, I don't want to be a psychic medium, right? Like I feel like connecting to people through this platform, producing people like Grace Grella. Grace Grella has a show where she's on hiatus right now for a little bit, but she has a show like this where she actually does old school call-in psychic medium, and I produce.
I
I just sit
saw
in the back.
that.
I
Yeah.
just sit in the back and I produce that because that's what I do, and I feel like that's kind of my modality, right? And there is a spiritual aspect to it that I think will probably evolve somehow into a more
Yeah.
energetic and then straightforward. But I think even like I said, even this show, this is an energetic exchange, right? You and we're just like stirring up our own energies and tossing them back and forth and enjoying each other's intentions and enjoying the audience, everybody's intentions. It's our own contribution to raising the vibration, right? That theme song that I had that I played with AI, I did that in AI. Like really, I mean, I wrote the words, so I
Oh,
don't know.
cool.
I feel like it really it took the power of what I wrote and it made it into something cool.
That
You
is
know,
very cool.
I really
You
dug it.
know, I did forget to mention, and Michael Christopher talked about this in one of his shows, where I forgot in between, before I even started taking any type of medium development classes, I did get my Reiki certification.
Mhm.
And the funny thing is that I immediately, and I loved it, I got the vibration going in my hands right away, and it was cool. And I'm like,
Yeah.
whoa, what's happening here? And people kept saying, well, you're going to get spirit coming in like that. It just kind of goes together. I'm like, oh, okay, okay. And, I did a couple and I'm like, whoa, whoa, what's that? What's that?
Mhm, mhm.
And then I reached out to, which this is still my passion, and I'll tell you about that, is that I reached out to hospice because I felt like we were kind of moving in the direction where they were open to more holistic, which I think they
Mhm,
are now, the
mhm.
hospitals, the hospice. So I
Sure.
worked with a particular organization and they were very, very open to it.
Mhm.
They were very open to it. Angelo, yes, I actually do. That's amazing. Wow. Like, sorry, that totally distracted me. That was
Oh
wow.
yeah, I was gonna pop that up. I tried. Angelo is amazing. Angelo is somebody who came and across the show. He's on a spiritual journey. He's kind of trying to figure out his stuff, but he's very gifted, and
Angelo.
very often he's in the audience, like saying things like, and often he's on point. So Angelo, yes,
Yes.
yes, Nancy
You're
does
a
have.
hundred. And actually, it's not or, it's both. Yes.
There you
Yeah.
go. That's
It's
right.
very much both.
Right.
Wow. So they couldn't figure out the hospice protocol, how to do it, which was fine.
Mhm.
I kind of just let it go. I didn't go reach out to another organization, but I did decide that I still want to work in that capacity, even though mediumship does kind of go hand in hand with, grief counseling, coaching. So I
Sure.
am in the process of doing my grief certification, a grief coach certification,
Okay.
because I would like to kind of add that to the mix. I kind of watched my sister go through different grief classes, and it really, really, it's a great community
Hmm.
when you are grieving. And
Hmm.
the sad part is that people don't know what to say to you,
Hmm.
and their friends start dropping off because they don't know what to say to you.
Hmm.
And, you feel that, like, where is everybody now? Now I'm all alone. The funeral, everything's over. Where is everybody?
Yeah.
So she now has this huge new community of friends that all have the same, losses in their life,
Yeah.
which
Right.
is really beautiful.
Is
So,
that
but yeah,
is that similar
I really,
to a doula? Is it like is that
yeah,
part
that's
of
like
it?
an end of life coach. I'm
Yeah.
open to working with both sides.
Hmm.
And, I would love to work with people that have already had the loss. And I would also love to work with people who are, um, i- you know, ultimately in a hospice situation.
Hmm.
And I even heard something that I thought was very profound, that you can actually help them create, to kind of give them a little bit of peace of mind. You can actually help a patient create what they want their passing to look like,
Mm.
who they want to
Wow.
be there for them, where they can
Wow. That's very
actually
cool.
manifest who they want to come for them.
That's great.
So that really stuck in my head. I read it somewhere and I'm like, wow, that's cool. Why not? We manifest everything
Yeah.
else,
Yeah.
right?
I think that's really cool. Yeah. Um, shoot, I was going to ask you something about. You said something about your sister. Now I lost my train of thought. Uh,
Sister grieving classes.
oh, I was going to talk about. Yeah, you were talking about this whole thing about death and about grief, right? So I had an experience this last weekend. It was the Look Up Rock On concert. There's a woman I know who lost her son to an overdose. And her son, before he passed, he would make these beads, like these bracelets and beads to hang on your mirror, with inspirational quotes for people. And when he passed, she created a grieving group called the Beating Hearts, and they create these beads.
Oh,
And and it was a bunch of mothers originally who had lost their child to overdose. um I cannot tell you the amazing energy that this group like just conjures up around grief, and like in a celebratory way. They celebrate their angels. They all like accept that their angels passed in order to give them something to move forward with. Like, it's like the smiles and the love and the energy. Oh my goodness. The Beating Hearts. Adam, Look Up for Adam is her son. And
well,
that's what I was when you were telling the story. That's what I was thinking about, because there's such a and I keep forgetting the dang word, when you take energy and you change it. There's
uh,
such a
transmutation.
transmute. There's a trans something word. I always forget the word. But when you just take the energy and you change it, you know what I mean? Like, that's what we are. That's like our power as humans, right? And,
Yeah.
and that we just forgot, is that, like, we're in
Yes.
control of the energy. Don't let the energy, control you. And, like,
Right.
all of these things that people are suffering from. It's
Yeah.
really,
Well,
it's
even when you
amazing.
talk about, your first question about the consciousness, it's a heightened sense of purpose. And that could be looked at both ways, like within ourselves, but also when somebody passes, we can
Mhm,
also view it in that sense too, which that's so
mhm,
beautiful,
mhm.
what all those
Absolutely.
mothers did. And it makes them feel good, and it makes them unite together, and so it's not for nothing.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm. I mean, there are so many stories I can tell you. I did a lot of documentation. They do every year on International Overdose Awareness Day. They go down
Yeah.
to the water. They go down to the water, and they have these big, like, elephant ear leaves of some plant. These big plant leaves, and they write like a prayer or a message, and they cast it into the ocean, like, one at a time. And oh my
Cool.
goodness, the energy! Like, I was there, just like, one year she asked me to document it, and I was like, "Oh yeah, no problem." And I was just doing a video job. No, I
It
was
was
thanking
emotional.
her afterwards. I was like, "Thank you so much." I was crying so much, and it was so, again, it was that psychic fetish
Yeah.
thing. It was just the energy of the healing that was going on, and
Yeah.
everything, you know, the crossing
That's so
over of the
beautiful.
realms. Yeah,
Wow.
amazing, amazing.
Wow. And
Awesome.
and I just want to direct something to Angelo real quick. So not only are you spot on, but my son is adopted, and he was born with some challenges, and you know during pregnancy was exposed to a lot of different elements that he should not have been. And it's funny too, because I mean he's our pride and joy. He's
Mhm.
now 20. We adopted him at birth.
Mm.
And it's funny because people always say, "Oh, that's so great that you did that. That's so wonderful," which I appreciate that. Thank you. But you know what? We all needed each other.
Right,
And
right. They're saying it like as if you did something for
yeah,
him, right? But in
I
the
selfishly
meantime,
wanted a child,
yeah,
okay?
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, incredible.
beautiful.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
incredible. Yeah, so I don't know what, what's the condition, right? But I do know that, my beliefs about special needs, like autism and things like that, are also, like you said, gifted, right? Like there's other senses, there's other perceptions that we don't have, that they have. And
Yes.
and those are definitely gifts. And it's
Yes,
like,
definitely, Courtney.
if only we understood more, you know what I mean? Like, we wouldn't look at it like, oh, they need help. It's almost like we need the help. You know what I
More.
mean? Yeah,
That's right.
yeah, yeah,
That's right.
totally, totally.
Yeah.
But
And
there's
it
and there
and
no,
it
go ahead.
brings forth it brings forth a totally, like, these kiddos that you know are in classes with other children that have challenges. They really end up being the most remarkable human beings, because guess what? There's no judgment. There's nothing but kindness and love that they give to one another. And that is what they are almost raised in a school environment versus not.
Yeah.
And I mean, my son is so caring to people,
Mhm,
even at a very young age. Like, he taught my husband and I how to be loving, how
mhm,
to take more time to stop and want to help somebody. Like,
mhm.
he retaught us all of that.
It's amazing.
And
Yeah,
it's
amazing.
beautiful.
Yes, Courtney says
Yeah,
pure
they
love,
are
pure
pure
love.
love, Courtney. Absolutely.
Yeah, totally. It's amazing. It's and again, I just love those stories, because there's so many stories the other way, right? Like, people just take life and, like, why is life doing this to me? And, like, they just kind of, they take
Yeah,
everything, like, that is happening to them and not for them, and take accountability. And so it's wonderful to see people going inside
yeah,
and seeing the silver lining, and all
right.
of the great things that happen. um
Honestly, if there was more days in the week, because advocacy was another career I wanted to get into,
mhm,
I had
mhm,
to do it on my own, for my child, because, you have a team with the school system, but nobody's going to try to get your kid what they need more than you.
that's right.
And
It's true.
there's a lot of parents out there that they don't know that these services are available. They don't know what to ask for. So advocacy is so on my list too. I just wish I had more time to do all my passions. that I have.
Right. Right. Well, it seems like you're certainly on the path to be in service, right? Which I think is important, right? Because one of the things I say all the time is we're all in this together, right? The one like most overlooked thing by society is we're all in this together, and
Yeah.
there's just no denying it in any way, shape, or form, right? You can be as competitive as you want, but we are all in this together, and I think it's like, you know,
Yeah.
it's just something, it's just like a practice the way we all need to live. So but
Absolutely.
but
Don't
let's talk.
sweat the small things.
Oh yes, exactly. So let's talk about you and the now moment, like what you're doing now, right? So you started you doing psychic medium professionally, and you're out in public now as a psychic medium. And how is that going, and where do you see it going, and what's next for you?
Good question. Angelo? Just kidding.
That's great.
Great question.
That's great. Well, you know what? You actually bring up a good point. Not to cut you off before you answer, but like I love the community, because a lot of psychic mediums they're all like seeking, kind of advice from each other, and like like it is a community thing. It's not like
Yeah,
no competitive. There's no competitive vibe or anything like that. It's all
I would
about
hope not.
yeah,
I always
yeah.
say, and this sounds so terrible, so you can edit this if you want, but there's enough dead people for everyone. Like, don't be competitive. Like, we're all in this together. Cheer each
Yeah,
other
yeah.
on.
That's exactly what I just said. We're all in this together,
Yeah,
right? I mean, it's
right.
there's I get you can tell a lot about a person, how they react to somebody else's success, right? I get really excited when I see people succeed,
Yeah,
especially
so,
with something that's very specific to them.
yeah.
I love people finding something original, right? Something really unique, and that they do it, and they're very successful with it. It's really great. um
I do too.
but there truly is.
It
so
is.
so now you can answer my question.
Okay.
How is it going? How is it going for you? I mean, are you getting a good response?
So, I've always been taking my time. As I mentioned, I have a full-time job, and I have just started doing, demos on demonstrations on with spiritualist churches.
Mhm.
And, I've been on podcasts. I just am really allowing, this year I've been saying yes to everything. Where I think last year, my
It's an important
fear,
thing.
yeah, my fear kept saying, no, not yet.
Mhm,
No, 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 no.
mhm,
I'm too busy. No, no, no.
mhm.
And I decided at the end of last year, the beginning of this year, I was just going to say yes to everything.
Yeah,
And it feels good.
amazing.
It
Totally.
feels really good. And I'm just going to keep going and, see where it takes me.
It's
Would I love to do this full time? I'm perfectly content where I'm at right now. At some point, I'm going to be 60 this year, so it would be a great retirement to just do that full time. So
sure.
I would love to
Yeah.
do that.
I,
So,
it's amazing to me to see so many people coming into these abilities, really opening up to it. It's great to see. My partner Janice, the quiet healer, also, and I just thought of this as you were saying it. So she just recently said yes to, like, well, a couple things. One, she said yes to doing a reading, and there was like a couple of people that came and she did a reading. But we did a
nice.
day where, so she does Reiki also. She's a Reiki master teacher, and also gets psychic messages through her work.
Mhm.
Which was the first time I heard of it, but now I hear that that's a very common thing, and a lot of people do it that way, because it's an energetic connection. So she had basically set up the day with a bunch of people that she was going to do Reiki for, and I was going to take, in exchange for me taking photos and video, because she wants to start promoting herself a little bit more, and that's what I do. So we did that. I was so amazed at how all of her sessions went. Every single session, when they came out, they were like, oh my God, we got a message, and it was this song, and me and my brother used to sing this song, and like there was so much validation. I was so proud to
Oh,
see her do it, and I was so happy to see her validated, within herself. Like she was like,
amazing.
wow, yeah, I can do this. This is real,
And we appreciate when you guys cheer us on too,
yeah,
because my household is very open to this, and I don't know how that would feel if they weren't.
yeah,
My
yeah,
husband cheers me on all the time. He doesn't necessarily pop on things, but he hears me and he's very
yeah,
much in
sure,
support of me and believes in all this. He grew up in a house that had, spirits in it that he would talk to.
yeah.
So it's a perfect match. But without you guys supporting us, it would be hard. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. And
that's
Angelo
great.
says, your child has a beautiful aura, illuminating light, and never saw anything like this.
Wow.
So there
Thank
you
you,
go. There's a good,
Angela.
you just got a nice message. That's beautiful.
Wow. Thank you so much.
That's awesome.
Beautiful. Wow.
Oh, wow. So where are we at? Where are we at? So you've been doing this, you've been successful with it. You would love to do it all the time. I think it's great. I'm loving watching the communities grow and watching people, like I said, come into their powers and their abilities, and not only that, but more and more people believing it, right?
And
Um,
Michael, too, what I see, and it's funny too, because even when I was, an admin helping a medium, it was a different environment back then.
mhm, mhm,
And, not, of course, not, minus the Zoom and all of that, but I think, like, even I talked to a medium that, from a long time ago, and I mentioned a couple of names, like, oh, that's so old school. And I
mhm,
feel like people are coming out now,
mhm,
and it's positive, and
mhm,
people are supporting them, and
mhm,
in a community that they're being supported in, where if you ask some other old school mediums, oh, no, 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 if you weren't born with it, if it didn't happen and you always had it, it's not there.
right.
And I've heard that many times, and that is just not true. We
Nope.
we all have the ability. It's a
Yeah,
matter if you want to hone into it and you want to build on it, right?
absolutely.
It's like,
Yeah, I believe
say
that.
everyone can play the piano, but not everybody's going to be a concert pianist.
That's right. Exactly. That's
So
exactly right.
that's something you want to do it.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah,
It is.
and that's that's really kind of my validation too when I see a medium. Like if they say that, then I'm like, all right, that's authentic. That person knows, they're not like, oh, I'm special, and I could do this and you can't, you know what I mean? Which is, and not to say, and I'm not saying that it's not a gift. It certainly is a gift, just like you would appreciate that concert pianist, for doing all of that practice, right? And becoming really good at it, you can appreciate a psychic medium for.
Absolutely. And I had a really seasoned medium say to me, Nancy, there's no difference between you and I. I've just been doing it a little bit longer, but there's absolutely no difference. Do not put a medium on a pedestal.
That's it.
Do not put them up there. And when I give readings and when I talk to people, I also want to teach them to connect on their own. You don't always have to go to a medium to get that connection.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I'm really about that too, teaching people to be, what's their awareness,
Right.
because they're probably getting signs, but they may not be aware of it.
Right. Absolutely. And that's something that also I've been talking about a lot too, right? Is the idea of people are going to get the signs that make sense to them. People are going to experience these things in
Yeah.
ways that they can understand. You know what I
Right.
mean? And I even liken it to, ET visits are very
Yeah.
similar to visits of, spirits of your dead ones. It's just a different form of energy, and a different way you're receiving it, like the
Yeah.
people just kind of
That's
receive
right.
things differently. So, I love this moment in time because I feel like all of that stuff is converging and people are starting to realize that it's the same. You were talking about Jennifer Rose and some other people, and they talk a lot about different things like the fairy realms and
Yeah.
different realms, that are, kind of like hard for some people to
It's out there,
swallow.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a bit out there, but again, I can remember, and I've said it before on this show, I can remember 10 years ago seeing on YouTube channelers, right, trans channelers saying like, oh, we are from the Galactic Council, and we are telling you humans this and that. And I was like,
And we thought
okay,
they were crazy.
yeah, these people are out there, right? And then one day, all of a sudden, you see the right person, and it
Yeah.
resonates, and it's like a little switch goes off, and you're like, oh, wait a second, this makes sense.
Yes. And I know you talk about was it Bashar a lot?
Yes,
And when I first kind of kept, cruising by the pages, I'm like, oh, this is interesting. But
yeah.
now I'm more open-minded.
Mhm.
And now, like, I'm not judgy about it. Like, now it's like, oh, fascinating. That's
Yeah,
fascinating.
totally.
Like, there's truth to, like, there's something
But
going on there.
and the thing is too, like with Bashar and spirituality and all of this stuff, it's like there are all these philosophical threads that are really basic knowledge, right? And it's like it doesn't have to come in that form, like as a message from Bashar for you to be like, oh, that makes sense, and that's like,
Yeah.
universal knowledge. You know what I mean? And it's so simple, and it's just a shame that, like, we're born so pure and awesome, and then like
Yeah.
society ruins it for us. They like
I know.
cover us with layers and layers of crap.
That's why, children are so open. They're
Yeah.
so open, and then you're right, and then everybody gets polluted with
Yeah.
things that have to make sense because
Yeah, they start. I got to be better than this person. I gotta do that. Courtney, I would just wanted to catch up with Courtney. She's talking about her own psychic abilities. Hers is just cracking open.
Oh,
Her
yes.
her husband rolls her eyes a lot. Um,
He'll
and
get there. He'll get there, Courtney.
yeah, you'll totally get there. You'll totally get there. I know for me, I've had a lot of experiences. I've talked about this download I had recently, right? Which is odd for me. I don't ever say things like that usually, but
Wow.
just about reality is imagination, right? So I had an experience where I kind of brought myself somewhere in my mind, and it was such a real moment and experience for me that all of a sudden I was like, oh, that's it. Everything happens here. It's all happens in your mind. And I think I've been watching a lot of, like, I don't know if you know who Donald Hoffman is. He's like a neuroscientist who studies reality, and they're talking about there is no physical reality. They're talking about concepts like this that are backed by science, right? Like atoms aren't really physical, and all of this stuff. And I just love that stuff. I love the idea that we could be, this is like, I don't want to say I love that this is like the Matrix, but the idea that it's like this is all happening in our mind. We're thinking about it, and it's coming out as oh my god, I'm looking at this computer screen. I'm having a video conference right now, and really it's just a thought.
Crazy.
Yeah,
I know.
that's totally
I've been
funny.
trying to wrap my head around it too. Even when they talk about we can move around to different dimensions or our different lifetimes are happening simultaneously. Like I'm still trying to like get that and
But
try
there's
to
but there's an aspect to that you know is true, right? You're like, yeah, oh yeah, that makes sense. I get
yeah,
that. And I
yeah.
guess it's also sharing stories, right? That's what the live stream is about, sharing stories. Brian Lahr is a good friend of mine, a wizard, and he's told me stories about working with shaman and astral traveling, and being like, okay, I'm now standing in California, somewhere totally across the world, physically, and I'm there, and like, being able to do those things. And I love that, man. I love that we have the power. I'd love to go to the Monroe Institute and learn about all of that stuff.
That is very, very cool. Wow.
Totally. Courtney
Yeah.
says you all support us just as much as we support you guys. Know that. Yes, we. Oh, I love you
Thank you,
guys. We totally love that.
the
This would.
best.
I mean, it's interesting because I don't do this for like the numbers, right? I don't care how many people are out there. Courtney, I know you're there, and that's all that
Yeah.
matters. You know what I mean? Ninja Kitty. I have a couple of people who've been with me since the beginning, and they're here every week, and they just love it.
That's so
And
cool.
I love them being here. I love their energy, and
Wow.
it's amazing.
Yeah,
And
Courtney,
you're amazing too. You've been a lot of fun to talk to.
thank you,
I think
Michael.
I'm sure we just scratched the surface. You know, I know you
Well,
got some interesting things coming up.
I'm a true New Yorker. I might be here in California, but my personality screams New York. And I am also from Long Island.
Oh, really? Where are you from
Yeah,
in Long Island?
Massapequa.
Massapequa. That's where my girlfriend's
Yeah,
from.
I have no
Wow.
idea what it looks like anymore. It's been so long. I've not been back.
Oh,
Wow.
wow. That's hysterical. How long have you been on the West Coast?
So we left when I was like 10 or 12.
Oh, wow.
So it's been a really long time. Obviously you can hear I sound like a Californian.
Yeah, you definitely don't sound like a Long
You know,
Island.
every now
Yeah.
and again, it's so funny, Michael. Every now and again, and because my mom had a little bit of an accent, my sister's a little bit, but when I talk, every now and again, I'll be in mid sentence and I'll say "water," a quarter, and I'm like, where'd that come from?
The Long
No,
Island came out. Yes, there's the
it's so
Fran
weird.
Drescher that
It
we've
just
been looking for.
happens. I know your accent
Uh,
actually is not that strong compared to others.
yes, I definitely see it more than I in others more than I see it in myself. So,
Yeah, I wonder
yeah.
how that happened. Maybe you talk to too many people in California. You're
I
kind of
don't know.
you're kind of like a mix.
You know, I people say that I have a good voice and all of this stuff. I don't. I'm just, I'm just me, and I'm just going with how it feels, and it feels good to be here. It feels good to connect with people like you. It feels good to connect with people like Courtney and Angelo and Janice, the Quiet Healer, Ninja Kitty, everybody. It's just,
Thank you
we
everyone for
yeah,
coming
we
in.
are all in this together, and that's what it's about, having conversations about things that uplift us and bring us together and not divide us and make us fight and call each other names
We
and,
know we're
and
not alone. Yeah, Zinabaz, I love that.
all of that stuff.
Angela, I'm gonna have to get your information. We need to talk.
Okay, absolutely. Cool. Awesome. I would love to talk. Well, before I put you in the green room, do you have any words of what do I always say? Wisdom, love,
Yeah.
warning, anything for my audience?
Absolutely. Just continue to spread the love. We all need it. We're all on this journey together. And life is hard enough. Let's not make it any harder. And I really appreciate and I love this community so much.
Mhm.
And kind of stand by. I'm hoping to have a upcoming show at the end of March on the Sacred Spiral
Awesome.
Network.
Awesome.
And I would love to continue this community on throughout all of our different shows because they're all very
Totally.
much entwined and we're all just trying to spread the love and community. So thank you for
Totally.
having me, Michael. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for being here. Thank you for being
Thank
here.
you, Ninja Kitty. Thank you.
Totally. I love the message too. I love what everybody's doing, and I really appreciate you being here. Let me put you in the back. Don't go anywhere so we could exchange information. And I'm gonna take a deep breath. And thanks for being here.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thanks for coming in.
Oh man, I've been doing this now Tuesdays and Thursdays, 2 nights a week. I should probably start working out instead of doing this show. I should probably start like doing some exercise. That would be great. But everybody, again, take a deep breath. Just feel how amazing it is to be alive and be in this moment and be here. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you guys. It's amazing. I think on Holding Space on Tuesday, a gentleman named Willard Barth, who is a very inspirational guy, has an interesting story, a lot of adversity, which seems to bring a lot of people to peace and loving ways. And then on the live stream, I have Gabby from the Spiritual Entrepreneur Group. So a couple of cool new people who we haven't seen on any of these shows coming up next week. As always, I appreciate you guys being here. They changed the thing here, and I think I might be going to, by the way, I guess I should mention this. Not that you'll see a big difference, but I think I might be going to what is that banner that just popped up? They changed the interface. I think I might be going to Restream instead of StreamYard, because StreamYard is becoming a little bit unusually expensive. Ninja Kitty, thank you. Amazing show. It's always amazing that you're here. Courtney, you're doing amazing. Thank you for the encouragement. I appreciate it. And Angelo has started doing push-ups. Awesome. You know, that's what I had started with. It was like I could only do like 5, and I was waking up and doing 5, and I was happy. And then I would do 6, and then I would do 7 the next day, and then I would do 8. And it works. I just got to start again. I'm going to start back at 5. Anyway, I will see you guys soon. Media Assets. There's my intro / outro. Check out the theme song to the live stream of consciousness as we sign off for the night. I'll see you guys next week. Peace.
This is the theme song for the live stream of consciousness. You gotta ask yourself whether reality is a dream or you are a dream for reality. We are all a part of the answer to the meaning of it all. Come in and join us for the